Hey, how's it going? My name is Felix, and welcome to the ice pop version of Subnautica Below Zero. Wanted to finally get to the game that gave us the large rooms, which I use all the time throughout all my base builds. I absolutely love them. And I know that Subnautica Below Zero had a bit more of an emphasis on base building, so I kind of wanted to jump in and see what it had to offer. Unfortunately, I did find out real quick that Subnautica Below Zero isn't as big, as in the map itself is a lot smaller. It feels really cluttered, so it took me a bit to find where exactly I could even throw in a large base, because I like to be a little extra. And you know, these small bases, as cute and nice they are, you know, how else are they gonna house my internal madness of hundreds of people who aren't actually here, but in my mind, I see them. And so, in order to create such a large base as I like to do, definitely was a struggle finding an area that could fit everything. And then I decided there's a huge emphasis in the game of land travel and a lot more walking on land than swimming in the water. Why not make a land base? I think it offers just a whole new challenge in and of itself, just because I can't, like, you know, swim up and down to try and, you know, navigate the whole base structure. Plus, in my opinion, it looks really beautiful, especially at night. So, with that in mind, I welcome you to the kind of Iceberg land base. You know, these names are always going to be a work in progress, but you get the idea, where I found a whole bunch of these little icebergs, and I thought it would be really cool to kind of have like different sections of the icebergs be different parts of the base, and then I use these bridges in order to get from one section of the base. It all works together. It looks really cool, but definitely was a challenge trying to mostly get the bridges work and connected from each part of the base. Mostly because the game does kind of get funky a little whenever you're trying to build on land and like over huge like chasms. Game really does not like floating land pieces. And if you are curious, I'm pretty sure that the base is in the West Arctic. I think this is the location. I'm not really too certain. I get really confused on the biomes quite often, but I'm pretty sure this is where the base is. Anyways, let's begin by showing you what I generally consider the entrance to this base, and that is going to be the main primary dock. Now, in order to kind of de-emphasize the idea of any underwater base or anything like that, and really focus on this being a land base, I didn't want to add too much structures underwater, so there's a very small docking area for some sea trucks and also a prawn suit if, you know, need be. But it did make sense to add a function and an area so we could actually have vehicles be connected to the dock. It does give the dock itself a lot more actual functionality rather than, you know, just kind of being pretty and looking really nice. I definitely miss having the storage boxes from the decorations mod. That could have at least made the dock look a little more filled in, and just having, like, you know, real storage being put around and like cargo boxes and things. But you know, we kind of make do with what we have. So coming into the base, something I really liked to have stressed was the importance of making sure the base didn't feel like a track where you go from like A to B and it was like a long tube. You know, you ever play those racing games where the tracks are just from one starting point to the end? That's kind of how I feel a lot of bases end up, and so I kind of wanted to make sure the base was more like a closed circuit, so that you can get from one point of the base in like a full loop, rather than, oh, you walk all the way to the end of the base, now you gotta walk all the way back to the start of the base, you know? So that's where the base mostly branches off here. You can kind of go forward in order to directly reach where all the living kind of areas are, or you can head straight left, which will lead to more of the working and the offices, some of the labs, and then that also then again leads back into the living areas. You'll also notice that there is a right branch. Now, there isn't too much this way. I did want to throw in what serves as an observation room, just nice and isolated away from everything else. If I had a telescope or something, I'd probably put it in here. Definitely can imagine like some researchers studying the stars and the constellations of this planet. Now heading back down and running through the rest of the kind of right side branch of the main entrance, the only other room I've included in this area is where the water treatment plant is, where we make all of our clean water for the base, and I've provided, plenty of storage so we can throw in all of the unnecessary salt we need. Also, just some offices in the back. I guess some people here can be making sure the water treatment's going well and we've got enough water supply for the rest of the basin, knowing where to deliver it, when to deliver it, and we've got our water filtration machines to create our water, and just some maintenance areas just in case we gotta work on the machines or anything. And now, I'm gonna take you all through the left side branch of the base, because going right, or gets technically straight from the main entrance, wraps all the way to the main primary part of the base where all the living and everything is. So instead, we're gonna go left, and we'll reach our first primary energy source for the base. Not counting all the solar panels I kind of just throw around everywhere. We've got the whole bioreactor room, kind of serves as somewhat of a little greenhouse as well, mostly just to fuel all the bioreactor stuff. And no, I have not thrown any penguins in there. Not yet anyways. They haven't wronged me, I don't believe. Continuing on, I had to figure out a pretty decent way of being able to descend to higher levels. As you can see, the iceberg does start to get a lot taller very quickly. And so what I've kind of created, once again, I reused my idea of the spiral ladders, so we have something that stands out a bit more and is easier to get up and down. But then I also thought, rather than it just being a ladder to try and, get all the way up, why not also turn it into a lighthouse? I feel like it's also in prime position right on the edge of the iceberg to warn any, if we do have any ships or something, I guess, don't ram into the docks. And I put some spotlights on top. I think they do the best that they can to act like lights, but you can actually reach the very top and you will see there's a nice viewing platform. Our lighthouse operator would be working here and making sure that nothing is hopefully not ramming into the iceberg base. So we continue on forward, and this is actually where the main idea from the base really stemmed off of, is this first bridge I built. And after I started building it, I just started thinking, wow, it's really cool being able to connect the two pieces of land together, like all these little kind of platforms of the iceberg. I also thought building this bridge is really cool. It was kind of awkward because, I can't swim or anything, so I have to try and finagle my way around to put the extra pieces underneath because, I still believe in my idea where I like to make things look, or at least feel, supported rather than it just kind of floating in the air best I can, in Subnautica. You do what you have to. We are starting to get to the section where it's mostly where a lot of the researchers would be working, like labs and the command center. So as we move along, we are going to be passing just a couple of offices that I kind of throw around. There's going to be kind of like a computer lab as well. I guess if any extra researchers need their own kind of PC time, we got some labs for that. Moving into the quintessential building of the working area, we've got a stack of 3 large rooms, and we're going to be starting from the bottom, moving our way up through each level. Starting with the bottom, we have our chief research lab for the base. I feel like this is a pretty basic lab. Don't really know what else to say about it, to be honest, because, it's just a nice place for our researchers to study whatever the heck they are studying on this planet. I don't really know. I'm not a scientist. But, one notable highlight. I'm glad they put showers in this game. I know you could probably use showers for, obviously other reasons, like in the bathroom. Some labs have those, safety showers just in case something happens. I'm pretty sure they're mostly in, chemistry labs, and I don't even know if this is really a chemistry lab. It's just a lab. Just in case, I guess. We have a safety shower. I thought it was a nice little added bonus. Onto the second floor, where I've made a large conference room, probably for all the major leaders of the base and things. Contact whoever outside of the base I guess they need. And there's also a large video board on the back. As we come around in this hallway, we can take this ladder up in this very long hallway. But once we climb up and make our way through, as you can see, we will have our third floor where we've got the command center and some scanner room things, as well as the main base's like customization room thing. I can't remember what it's called. I believe it is just the control room. So if I guess need to monitor any of the vitals or edit the base, it's a nice function that they added into Subnautica Below Zero, where you can also like turn off lights or turn off certain functions of your base. But yeah, I really haven't found a major use of it, to be honest. Regardless, on the very tip top third floor of this building, we've got the sensor control room for the entire base. And I made this room before I even had put in the control room, so I didn't know what the control room looked like. But I also made a center console as well, because I thought, you know, you'd have all the people kind of surrounded, and if there was a cool like map of the area or like a big computer, they would be tapping on here. I don't know if you ever watched like Hawaii 5-0, and they have that huge like center computer that they always use. That's what I imagine would be here. Now it makes me a little sad that the main control room actually has like a really cool base hologram. If only I could somehow like uninstall it and like shove it over here. It would look so much cooler. But as we continue along our way, we will run across the central dormitory for all the researchers. And when you come into the dormitory, there is a lobby and just kind of a relaxing area for everyone to sit in. But there are 3 personal rooms for our researchers. 2 of them are kind of single beds, and then the middle one being a 3rd bed. And you know what's a really nice added feature as well in Subnautica Below Zero are these more personalized bed sheets. I guess they're meant for very specific researchers in the game. I don't know, I just kind of stole their sheets, I guess. Makes for some nicer individualized beds. Gives a bit more charm, and I don't know, makes the room feel, I guess, like there are some people living here with their own personalities. At this point, we have reached the innermost area of the base, where a lot of the living and kind of relaxing areas for all the research is going to be. Things like cafeterias and stuff. There is also a nuclear power plant. And as we continue to move along, we will eventually reach, you know, with all the new added bathroom pieces that Subnautica BZ decided to add in, which I think is interesting. I mean, it's nice. Don't really use them as much. I mean, I guess we're civilized people. We had to have toilets nowadays. You know, I guess we'll never ask how the main protagonist of Subnautica 1, I don't know, maybe just let it rip in the ocean or something. But hey, we're civilized now. And with that, all the new pieces, I decided to make a huge communal bathroom. Kind of like if you've ever been in a dormitory for like a college or something. They always have these kind of communal bathrooms and showers for everybody to use. And we've got the same principle kind of being used here. And coming out of our unnecessary fancy bathrooms, I provided just a nice outdoor area for the researchers to kind of relax. I'd imagine they could do some outdoor activities or something out here. Maybe if we had like a basketball hoop or something. Even though I can't imagine playing basketball in like negative 50-degree weather would be very nice. Maybe they could just like run little small laps out here or something. And across from our outdoor area is going to be the tunnel that leads all the way to the cafeteria and one of the main communal lobbies, kind of the relaxing area. But we're going to save that for now and instead head to the 2 innermost large buildings, which is going to house on the bottom floor. We've got the clinic. And as per usual, once you step into the clinic, there is the usual reception and waiting area for all of our patients, as well as your daily game show. Because I do still believe you'll always hear some sort of weird game show. Actually, I feel like they've changed the TV programming now, and when you go to like dentists and doctor offices, it's a lot of home improvement shows nowadays. Maybe I should throw a home improvement show on there. But the back end of the houses and beds for our patients, once again, gotta kind of use your imagination. I imagine this is the kind of open floor plan of a clinic where they would have curtains that go across to cover all the beds and keep the patients a bit more private, because we don't exactly have separate rooms for all the patients. So, you know, just close your eyes, essentially, when someone's getting checked up on. Well, and then there is a singular personal room in the back for, I guess, something a bit more serious. And I do like the inclusion of all the sinks now. Gotta make sure we're clean and hygienic around here. I will note that, unfortunately, the clinic itself kind kind of lost a bit of purpose because in the original Subnautica game, in order to get medkits, there was actually like a very specific medkit builder you had to make. But in this, they've kind of changed it where instead there's a recipe for it in the Fabricator, which I guess makes it more streamlined. But then I just don't get like a dedicated medkit machine anymore, so kind of lost some more real functionality for the clinic that we had in original Subnautica, but lost it here, unfortunately. But anyways, moving on, we're gonna go right across the way, which is how you get to the second floor of the large rooms, the large buildings in the middle of this area. And we are going to reach the primary, main, central, all the big keywords here for the fabrication and just where I would store all the stuff, make everything. This is the room for it, so anything that needs to be made for the base would happen in this room. Also got the new recycle machine, so we could also break down any unnecessary things we don't need, as well as the upgrader. And as the two primary buildings in the center are connected, we can just easily walk across because they are connected, and we will reach what serves as the main greenhouse, and where I can get all the food for the base, at least greenery wise, rather than just fish. There actually is some fish tanks below where the researchers would probably be studying some of the more sea life. We've also got some penguins in there. And I don't know, we could probably change it out, one of these, for a more fish variety one if we do need a more fishy diet at the base. I could imagine that could be done. But these two buildings do serve as most of the flora and fauna research kind of areas for the Iceberg base. Speaking of which, of talking about the fauna room, this is also how you get to the main outdoor area, where we'll be studying most of the outdoor kind of flora of the planet. And there's also going to be a lot of solar panels, generally lots of power being held out here. Okay, look, I know you're gonna see some thermal plants. You get power from these by using like heat sources and stuff. And I know it's above land and serves no purpose, but I think they look really cool out here. They're like mini antennas. If we had some more like communication systems or something, that's what I think they look like. Plus, when I surround them with solar panels, it looks like a giant solar array or something. Yeah, this platform is kind of funny because there's a lot of just random things. I've tried to fill it in as best I could. I decided, oh wow, wouldn't it be really cool to have a hover bike platform out here? That looks super awesome. But now I've realized that the hover bike is stuck and it can't leave. I don't know how else to get it out of here, so it's like a nice statue, and it's just gonna sit here in the middle forever and not be useful in any way possible. Probably like most of the features of this space, to be honest. Heading back inside, I'm making all these jokes about how useless a lot of the features outside of the bases, and I've now come to realize how even more useless it really is, because now I'm gonna go around and show you the nuclear power plant section of the base, which really takes over all the power. We have a bioreactor room, we have all these solar panels, but yeah, we don't really need them. I mean, they're nice to have, but in reality, you don't really need them. The nuclear power plant typically does what it needs to do in this game, and you really only need one. And because I'm crazy, I've got two of them. Yeah, it does its job more than adequately, but just a simple nuclear reactor room, nothing too fancy going on. And as per usual, always love throwing the reinforcements to surround it as a precautionary, just in case, I guess. And now we're gonna run all the way to the technically front of the most centralized part of the base, where we are going to have two major rooms, and on the right we have the cafeteria to serve all the researchers. And along with the cafeteria, nice little dining tables and benches for them to all sit at. There is going to be a kitchen in the back so that they can prep the food. And now that the game actually gives us fridges and sinks and little stove tops, it definitely makes it look a lot more like a kitchen. Wow. And now we will make our way across. We have finally reached the last room to show you in the base, which is going to be the primary hub, kind of centralized lobby for all the researchers to kind of hang around and just relax, watch some television. Got to keep up with the games, even if you're on a distant planet, probably, thousands of light years away from home base. And like some jukeboxes so they can listen to music, and some computers, if anyone needs to surf the web. Maybe they'd be sitting around playing cards or something. If only I could try. You gotta really use your imagination. I put some tables back here, and I don't know, they could probably be playing some like Pong back here or something, but could we just like somehow just edit in, I don't know, like a pool table? I feel like this is where a pool table would be. This is where I would put a pool table if I had one. This is where it would be. And then other than like some vending machines and stuff, yeah, you also got a really nice view of the rest of the base from here. It's so pretty at night. But I think that is going to be the last part of the base to show you. Because at this point, you'll see the branch kind of just wraps around back to the main entrance, as I mentioned before, where I wanted to make this a closed circuit. So this is how you get back to the main entrance from the living area. But other than that, I think I've showed you pretty much everything of the Iceberg base. This was really fun to build. I mean, there were definitely some challenging parts just because I can't swim, so have to find some weird angles in order to try and get on top of things, and then like having to build myself my own platforms just to get onto a different platform. Otherwise, I think it turned out really well. And I think it was just a really cool challenge to kind of do a land base, and I don't think that's a very common thing in Subnautica. I had a lot of fun, and if you enjoyed watching this tour and seeing these base builds, I hope you consider dropping a like or even subscribing and sticking around for whatever comes next. I've been a little addicted to some other games admittedly lately. Now, if you do want to catch my other base builds of Subnautica, you can click the card right on the screen, which will take you to the Lava City Mega Base. But anyways, my name is Felix, hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you again next time. Bye!